Good morning. Hi. So I want to talk about kids content today and how important that is to the streamers. So arguably Disney is one of the most recognizable kid content brands on the planet. I mean, it could be considered one of the most recognizable brands on the planet, period, regardless of the amount of kid content that they have. So it's pretty well known that the viewers of Netflix, over half of them have viewed kid content within the last 5 to 10 days. That's a huge number of people. And very quickly, the streamers have been able to assess that the golden handcuff that keeps subscribers subscribing is actually kid content. Now, the reason I think this is really important is that as Disney ramps up and ramps up its own content for its own streaming, which is supposed to be out in 2019, they're also taking their kid content off of Netflix, which is exactly why Netflix, brought on Melissa Cobb and is ramping up their production in the kid and family-friendly zone. But I think that also shows how Disney is going to be able to compete with Netflix very quickly, because there are a lot of parents out there with a lot of children who love that Disney content, and they're going to be willing to fork out the subscription fee to be able to continue to watch all of that Disney content. Now, the other thing that you want to think about is that as AT&T and Warner Brothers, since they've just merged, and it's pretty obvious that there's going to be another subscription service or another streamer that's going to be coming online that's going to be dealing with the Warner Brothers content or the content in their library. And the thing is about that library is that arguably they're going to need to take a deep dive into their library of existing content and find the elements that are kid friendly. And here's an example of that. HBO plays Sesame Street. So that's a licensing deal that was really important for Warner Brothers, and it also was a way for HBO to keep some of their subscribers, that the subscription service had kid content. So Warner Brothers, to be able to scale up quickly, is going to have to find that kid content or create that kid content pretty quickly if AT&T is thinking that they're going to have their own subscription streaming service that is going to be based on the Warner Brothers library. The reason that kid content is sort of that golden handcuff is pretty obvious to any person who has kids. I know that when my kids were little, that one of the primary reasons that we maintained cable was for the Disney Channel. It was because they loved it, and they have kind of aged out of that. But another interesting thing that should be considered is that YouTube is another huge streamer of kid content, and those kids who stream YouTube as children, they are becoming the same kids. My kids like to stream YouTube not only on their phones but also on our big TV in the house. So kids are truly the way for subscription services to get people to not only subscribe, be that first sort of subscriber, but to continue to maintain that subscription service, so that then that becomes a habit within their household, that they are turning to Netflix, to Disney, to any of those places that are subscription based. All right, thanks so much. Also went to China this summer. Going to talk about that a little bit later, about the Chinese model of different technologies and subscription services. All right, thanks so much. Bye-bye.